Okay, so this is the Hug Patrol, and we've got a great show for you this tonight. Um, we've got in the news, or so much the news that I can scrape up on shorter notice. Bill Gates actually drinks a what is uh,
What's going on?
I think his mic stopped working.
Uh-oh.
no, actually, fuck up on my part was YouTube started
Okay.
without me.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, Bill Gates has this purification process, or is drank this concoction of purified water, and what it's called is actually, I think it's called a Janicki processor, and what it does is it allows water to be extracted and purified um, from for human consumption. Uh, it's a really ingenious process, but he says it's very pure, and he obviously would drink it. It's on his YouTube channel. Um, is it just me as Bill Gates gets older? Does he start looking more and more like the smoking man from the X Files?
I don't know.
I mean, he really does. I mean, it's like even the way his mannerisms are like really creepy. He's starting to turn into like creepy old manism. Oh, also, Otter would be very very happy to hear this. Nintendo is profitable again.
Yeah.
Actually, it's largely due to its mobile gaming market. It estimated pulled in about $4.61 billion net, and has an operating income of 207,000.83 million. And like I said, that's largely due to its handheld market and its IPs that nobody can touch. I mean, really, nobody can touch Nintendo's IPs. They are legendary.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they've got to be doing something right to have lasted this damn long. I mean, they outlasted Sega, Atari. So yeah, they're doing really good now, and I'm really glad for that. Also, Rockstar did not put a ban on single player mods on GTA 5. That was actually a mistake on their part. It had something to do with one of the hook lines that got inserted into the code when they were messing around with it. What they didn't want to happen was players cheating in an online mode using field of vision and things of that nature. Um, on to the decline of DC and Marvel.
Did we just skip over all the topics?
No, those were just the topics that we're going to cover.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So you wanted to talk about the decline of DC and Marvel.
Were we going to talk about that first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, well, a lot of people have been able to figure out that weird stuff is going on at DC and Marvel, and a lot of it's like this weird social justicey push for, oh, there needs to be a gay Iceman, and then we need a comic about a Miss Marvel character, a new Miss Marvel type character who is Muslim, and she has to deal with being Muslim in the Marvel universe. Even though they've had Muslim characters before, like the X-Men character Sand, who she's in like a full burqa, and there was the other character in the UK who ended up oddly becoming the new bearer of Excalibur. But they're like, no, we need to have this push by this white Muslim feminist. We need to have her write a Muslim character, and they keep claiming it's really popular. But I don't really understand where they're getting that besides digital sales. And there's just all this stuff, and there's the issue of DC and Marvel both trying to appeal to new audiences, Um, where DC tried to reboot their universe but didn't because they're like, no, no, we must keep Green Lantern and Batman. So that ended up making the reboot not make any sense because all the history of Green Lantern is still there, and the history of Batman is still there, but they like condensed all the history into like 5 years, and it doesn't make any sense. And then they gave a Batgirl her legs back. Well, she always had her legs, but they allowed her to walk again. And now they've turned the comic into they're literally like, this is a social justice warrior comic, yeah. And they wouldn't allow that cover that we all know of to be used because they're like, oh, it'll scare teenage girls and that'll hurt sales. And Marvel is now on the verge of this event that they're doing. But they're like, it's not a reboot, but all the different timelines and universes that exist, like Marvel 1602, where it was the Victorian era, and all the like the Fantastic Four and X-Men, they all showed up there somehow. And didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was really good. And Old Man Logan, where it was in the future, and Wolverine's really old, and She-Hulk and Hulk ended up having babies together, which is creepy because they're cousins. So all these different like timelines and universes, like for some reason, smacked together on the Earth, and so there's different parts of Earth where this is the timeline, and it just seems really odd considering it's supposed to be like the previous Secret Wars miniseries that they did in the past, that were literally just the whole excuse for those events were to give toy ideas to toy makers, and they're like, no, this is serious. This will make sense. But I don't think it's going to be a reboot, but it's going to like bring in. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, honestly. But Miles Morales, Spider-Man, is going to be part of the 616 universe because the Ultimate Universe has been destroyed. And it just seemed like a lot of people are like, I don't know about this. I don't like this idea. This doesn't make any sense. So they're just really getting really weird.
Well, is it social justice warrior writers, or is it social justice warriors?
That's not the fault of social justice warrior writers, as far as I know. Although you could say that social justice influence is like saying, oh, it's too complicated to get into Marvel. Start over and make it friendly by having like all the characters be transgendered people that are black in wheelchairs or whatever thing that's.
But yet they got rid of a disabled icon that was already existing. Barbara Gordon, Oracle.
So they basically want it to be like, I don't know, the gay and trans version of the YMCA Marvel heroes?
Maybe. It's
minus disabled people.
Yeah. Because they introduced that one character who was like her roommate as, oh, this is just a regular transgender person. But we didn't want to do a superhero. We just wanted to have a regular person, and that's her like roommate. And now that character's like not in the comic anymore, or she's barely there. And then they got in trouble because they had this one villain dress up as Batgirl and commit crimes, and then it turned out it was a guy. It was like, oh, that's really hateful towards transgender people. I don't know how, but unless the guy
just cross-dressing. There's a difference between trans and cross-dressing.
No, they don't seem to understand that. But I'm just like, as a massive Marvel fan, I have all these comics. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to keep buying stuff anymore. I don't know if I'm interested in continuing to support Marvel when it seems like they don't even know what they're doing half the time. So I don't know.
Okay, so break this down. Who seems to be more guilty of it, as SJW influence, DC or Marvel?
I honestly don't know. There are Comics Alliance writers who are working in both DC and Marvel, so it's really hard to tell, and that's kind of an unethical thing since Comics Alliance is supposed to be like a news outlet for comics, and then they have people working at the companies, and they're always constantly talking about social justice stuff. Just a second, Darkstar, can you turn up your volume on the actual Hangouts? There's the control room, and I think you
Yeah,
can
I
turn your
can.
volume up because you sound really quiet.
Do I sound quiet now?
There, you're better. Anyways, um, it's just really sad. Like the only thing that keeps me going is like, oh, the movies and stuff are cool. Agents of Shield's fun, and that got renewed for a third season, along with Agent Carter, which there are people who didn't like Agent Carter because they're like, oh, it's too feminist. So
I liked Agents of Shield. I thought that was kind of a
What's
happy.
wrong with Agent Carter?
well, there is a little too much. There's a little too much like sort of feminist. Oh, all the people there are mean to her and treat her like she's not as good as them, and they make her get coffee and stuff. And it's like she doesn't have to get coffee. Like she can say, I'm not getting coffee. Um, Eventually, though, in the show, kind of a spoiler, she proves herself to the rest of the two older men in the place that she works, and they accept her, and then they treat her like one of the guys. So there's some truth in how she would be treated like that, but there's I don't know.
Well,
I like.
that's the story of the rookie. You'll see often
Mhm.
you see a male character in that same role, just carrying coffee or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's sort of a rookie stereotype.
Mhm. There's really nothing like that feminist about it, and one of the things feminists like to claim is like a woman doing something is feminist. Like a woman walking outside on the road is like that's just a very feminist act because I mean she's a woman
Dixie
and she's
Taco.
walking.
Feminist action.
Feminist peeing.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the show was it was really about her essentially kind of another spoiler, not really too spoiler, but it's about her getting over Captain America's death. That's not very feminist. Her like
It's
worrying about
feminist
her love
crime.
interest is male.
That's how it's feminist.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's just this big decline, and then if we're gonna talk about the media adaptions, DC is just being really weird with what they're doing.
When you say when there's a decline, you say, is there actually a decline in the quality, like of the story?
Honestly, yeah,
okay.
I would say that.
Is there like a decline in the artwork at all?
That's that artwork and stuff. That's kind of it doesn't really get affected in terms of this kind of thing. Usually, it's the writing because people are being forced to write certain things, or people want to write things, and it's the kind of thing that's like it's just hard to write well because it's clearly propaganda-ish.
Well, if we're going to talk about the decline of Marvel and DC, we need to look at every aspect of which they can decline.
Well, yeah, like I would say the art isn't declining, except if you look at Squirrel Girl, the like Beatable Squirrel Girl or whatever, that artwork is terrible. It's like webcomic art, and it's not good webcomic art. She looks gross. She looks honestly mentally retarded.
I had no idea there was a character called Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
I always thought she was funny.
Well, she was a really great character, and then they gave her her own series, and they let some social justice warriors write it, and apparently do the art, and it's just stupid. It's almost like she exists in this little cartoon mini-verse that is just really dumb. Like somebody posted them on all the pages of the issues so far on 8chan, whatever the one is, the board for comics and cartoons. I think it's like CO.
Oh yeah.
But it just looks really disrespectful to the character, and it just looks ugly.
It seems to me that before long, DC is going to have so much social justice influence that Superman is actually going to be a bad guy, like some sort of Aryan cis white scum bastard. And all of the other Marvel superheroes are going to be fighting against him.
No, they can't do that to Superman. He's an illegal alien.
Well, he ended up like renouncing his citizenship at one point. I can't remember why.
I don't know. I just saw a picture of Superman wearing a sombrero, and I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. Max wants us to say something for him on the stream.
What's Max wants us to say?
I don't know.
I've started reading superhero webcomics. I found some good ones.
Which ones?
Well, the one that I'm currently going through is called Spinneret, and it pokes a little fun at superhero comics, but it's actually a good. It has some really good serious moments and some believable romance, and I think it's really cool.
What audience do you think it's for?
I don't know. If you if you know superheroes, you'll probably appreciate it. The main character, like early in the series, comes out as gay, realizes that she's gay, and she starts dating another superhero, and that relationship is believable, which is important. And it didn't feel forced, and there's like some funny moments, some serious moments. There's commentary on superhero comics in general that's pretty funny. I think it's just overall a lot of fun. If you've read a lot of superhero comics, you'll probably appreciate it more than you would if you haven't.
So
Because
it's
they do make fun of like Spider-Man and stuff here and there because they're comics fans, the authors.
That's cool. I tend to avoid webcomics unless they're really easy to read, like they're just like comic strips, because I don't like reading stuff on my phone.
The comic's popular enough that he actually sells print versions of it that you can just buy and get bonus issues that are only in print.
Oh yeah,
not
I like
online.
to buy the print versions of stuff. I don't know if I'd be interested in that.
Probably not.
That comic, but
It's a good comic if you like superhero comics. I'm starting to look for and find decent, superhero webcomics because, I'm poor and I really like my superheroes.
Well, you can always find stuff. You can get stuff illegally.
Yeah, I don't really like doing that.
I know. I don't like doing that either, but there's also, you can get comic books from libraries, like the trades. They don't have everything, but they usually have, like, they'll have Vertigo stuff. They'll usually have a whole series of Vertigo stuff at libraries.
There isn't that big a comic section really at my local library.
Well, then you should campaign for one.
I got enough campaigning already on my plate and the game I'm working on.
Our local library is so damn old that it has an original copy of Lord of the Flies.
That's crazy. But back to what I was starting to mention with the media adaptions and stuff. What Marvel's doing is, with the TV shows and the movie being connected and everything, I think that's actually really working. But with DC, they're just like all over the place, and then they have the Flash and Arrow, which are very friendly towards female audiences, because not all female people in the female audience, like when I refer to the female audience, I mean like the female audience in quotes. They like relationship drama, and there's too much of that stuff in those shows. Like it's more than like what you would have found in X-Men during Chris Claremont's run, where there's a lot of soap opera stuff. But they just have all these adaptions, and then they had Constantine, which is now officially canceled, on NBC, and now they're working on a Lucifer spinoff, not a spinoff, a Lucifer show where he joins, instead of being like what happens after in Sandman or whatever, he joins the LAPD and helps them torture criminals or something. I don't know. It just sounds really stupid. And they have a Teen Titans show that they're working on, and TNT, and what else? Oh, they have Supergirl now on CBS, and it just seems like a mess. And there's no connection with the movies. And it's like either you pick the movies or you pick something else. I don't know. But we have Samantha joining us.
Yeah.
Hello, Samantha.
You like my
So,
avatar?
patient wants to know for all of you: do you wear your underwear inside out?
Hmm. No, I don't.
Sometimes when I wake up and I'm hurrying up too much, it happens.
He ended up saying, it's actually the universe that wears your underwear and not you, if you wear it inside out.
I just saw the the drawings for Squirrel Girl.
Uh-huh.
The, she does look retarded.
Yeah, or like Down
Like
syndrome.
her teeth are out. Like she looks like too much like the cartoon of a squirrel more than a squirrel.
Yeah, she looks less human. And that's not how she used to look. It's like they were trying to make her look ugly because they needed an ugly female character somehow. I don't know. It's just really it's bad art.
It's very bad art. I've seen so many pictures of it online.
Is
They
it
also make her really chubby.
is it SpaghettiOs in the vagina bad art?
Maybe.
The thing is, yeah, I think they make her even more fat than she was. I think she was a short, more
She used to
regular
be athletic,
body.
and now they've just kind of made her chubby and if you turn her hair blue, she looks like Randy Harper.
No, Randy Harper is a whale.
Well, they sometimes and some of the like somebody did that. Like I'm like this looks like Randy Harper, and then somebody changed the hair color to blue, and it's like yeah, it's Randy Harper.
Oh god, I don't know. I'd
But yeah,
rather all my heroes just be fit and muscly because I wish more people were fit and muscly.
But the thing is that I'm seeing animation of the drawings of a Squirrel Girl when she was normal, and she wasn't skinny. She was just regular looking. She
she
was
was
short actually.
she was athletic. I mean, she is a superhero, so she's athletic. She was young and she I guess she was sort of portrayed as a teenager. There are times where they kind of because sometimes artists just like to draw everyone sexy. She looked kind of like sexy a little bit, um, but not like out of characterly like really weird. So I don't know. She was a great character that started out randomly back in like the really old days of Iron Man as like a one-shot character, and then Dan Slott brought her back randomly in the Great Lake Avengers comics that he did, and then she kind of kept popping up all the time, and she joined the Avengers to babysit Luke Cage and Jessica Jones's baby daughter, and yeah, so I don't know, it's just weird out that they're pushing this terrible solo title about her. She never should have been her like a hat. She should never have had her own solo title because she kind of is a Mary Sue, like a sort of an adorable, like we know she's a Mary Sue character, and now they're like making her an actual Mary Sue solo title character, and it's just not good. That's bad.
But she
They
was a
want to
Mary
make
Sue character. Oh, sorry.
It was kind of a parody. So
Yeah, yeah.
what bothers me is that if they want to make an overweight superhero, make it. Don't steal someone's creation.
well, it's interesting because they actually kind of did that. Dan Slott during what was it Avengers the Avengers Initiative during the Avengers Initiative, it was after Civil War, and so they're like anybody with powers, they're like, oh, you have to come and, or they're like, oh, you should come and like train to be an Avenger, and so you can join a team in a state or whatever. There was this one character, I think he was called Butterball. He was really fat, and his power was that he couldn't be hurt or something. Let me look him up really quick. But it was interesting because he ended up they ended up sending him home because he couldn't really do a whole lot, and because of him not being good during the training and stuff, that the other people in his squad, they were they got punished, and then he ended up. They ended up trying to beat him with soap in like socks or something, and he didn't really feel it. It didn't bother him. It was kind of sad because he wanted to be a hero, but they're like, no, you don't work in this, so they sent him home. And he eventually came back when Skrulls invaded, but yeah, it's interesting. Let me
I
see
mean, you
what.
can make somebody thicker but muscular.
Okay, yeah, he was resistant to all forms of physical harm. However, as a side effect of this invulnerability, his sense of touch is impaired, and he is also frozen at the physical state he was when his powers were activated, making his body incapable of losing or gaining weight or muscle mass.
Hmm.
It was interesting, and yeah, you don't see social justice warriors going, "Hey, bring him back." I wonder why. Probably because he's a guy.
Because they don't read comics.
Well, some of them. Let's be fair. Some social justice warriors do read comics, but they're not a large enough audience to where it actually makes sense to cater to them. The only thing that like most of them are, like what Gail Simone had pointed out one time, they don't like reading the comics, they just like the idea of the characters, and so they go on Tumblr and post pictures of the characters, or...
If you don't read the comics, just admit you don't read the comics. I don't read comics, superhero comics. I'm more into horror comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's more what I'm into, like manga and comics that are more horror oriented.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because Marvel and DC, every once in a while, they'll do a comic that takes place within their universe where it's like, it's very horror oriented. Like there's this one currently that takes place in Gotham, and it's like the supernatural, creepy side of Gotham with, I think, maybe it's like police officers. I'm not really sure. And then a while ago, they also did one where it was this original character, and he lived in Gotham, and it was very horror oriented. And Vertigo stuff back in the day was originally mostly horror.
Yeah.
But in Marvel, every once in a while, we'll have stuff that's kind of horror oriented, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and it's usually not.
Vertigo? Was it Spawn? Which who is it?
No,
Dark
that was
Horse?
Image Comics did Spawn.
Oh, no.
Vertigo was. It started out where more mature stories at DC, like characters like Sandman. Well, that was pretty much Vertigo from the beginning. And Animal Man, which started going into a really weird, dark direction. They ended up making this other label to be able to give the creators more freedom to write stuff the way they wanted. And now it's mostly just original stuff from writers or artists and stuff who just do stuff, and it's like, oh, we'll just publish it, and then they kind of own the rights, but they eventually get them back, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so it's not the way it used to be, but that was basically their way of doing more mature content with characters within the DC universe. And Marvel tried doing that with Max, but that didn't really go very far.
I'm actually thinking these whole social justice warriors, like, we want black characters, we want the feminist characters. What happened with Spawn? Why don't they just reboot Spawn? They reboot everything else. Spawn is already black.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they don't want. Maybe what they don't want basically is a bad representation or a hurtful representation of a community. I mean, Spawn is an anti-hero. It's not a hero. He committed crimes, so maybe they don't. They just want to be everything positive.
One of the things about Spawn in those comics is they Image a lot of the the stuff that's part of the Image universe or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. What Spawn's universe is called. It's connected with Witchblade and some other stuff. But those characters tend to be, like, the artists, at least they used to be, very sexually charged. The women would not have a whole lot on, and so maybe that's why they don't care about that. And that's also not very mainstream stuff. They want the most popular stuff to cater to them because the more popular stuff will be seen by more people. and they want to use it as propaganda somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that Wonder Woman image was like the most traumatic thing that I have seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mansplaining one, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? It's like straight up propaganda. It wasn't even subtle.
Yep.
It wasn't even funny or
Yeah.
interesting.
It was
So
like,
basically, DC and Marvel have just been going in this really upsetting direction. That doesn't seem, in terms of when you think of artistic quality, it doesn't seem like that's the direction they're going. They're going further and further away from that.
Basically, it seems to me that they're more leaning towards a narrative by telling a story. It's not so much, hey, let's have this awesome story about this awesome character who does like some overcoming things and faces adversity along the way. It's how can we tell this story that we want to tell through another story, which is basically something that writers have been doing for a very long time. But it's not because of the persuasion by outside influence. You'll see like writers that want to tell their own story or tell their own moral of the story through their own motivations.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a lot of I guess SJW influence to like, I'm not going to say Stephen King, but like say Dean Koontz or any other high-selling writer.
Mm-hmm.
They usually maintain their own creative control.
Mm-hmm.
oh my,
Many
I
times,
just remember.
many times without outside influence. Dean Koontz is an especially good example of that. But it seems that they keep wanting to tell this narrative through another story, and keep doing so and keep doing so to the point to where it is no longer a good story for the sake of the story.
Yep.
I was just watching a link from, do you know a site called Dread Central? It's a horror movie
Dread
site,
Central, yeah.
They
Aren't they
was-
horror-oriented?
What?
Aren't they a horror-oriented website?
Yes, it's comics, movies, books, music. And basically, they just released an article called Rape Culture and Horror Movies. And I was like, no. Please, no. And the thing is that a lot of people started commenting saying, we don't need to talk first. They start talking about how feminism is starting to corrupt every aspect of like media, entertainment, and they were saying like, please don't try to get too much into theories inside horror movies. Sometimes horror movies are just horror movies. Don't try to sometimes to read too much into it. I mean, basically they were saying like it was all about rape culture supposedly. How I don't know how it's perpetrated through horror movies. You know, like
Anytime a feminist or an SJW gets the opportunity to use a piece of media that they think is going to get their message across, they will use it. It wasn't until games got popular among the masses that they stuck their nose into that. Comics by proxy getting bigger, therefore they stick their nose into that. I mean, dear God, it's going to be a point where I swear if duck whistles get like any more popular that they're going to be going there.
Well, they've already tried to go after the duck whistle people by saying, "Oh, he said that gay people are dumb."
Yeah, what did they fucking expect exactly?
Well, they wanted him to say something that they could use to make him look bad, and we're talking about the Duck Dynasty people in case people.
Yes.
yeah. He said, actually, I read the whole entire explanation he gave, and he was completely on point. I mean, he said, "I still love gay people. I just don't." He said, "Just think that gays it's the typical love the sinner, not the sin.
Mm-hmm.
Like he the sin, not the sinner." He said that he still loved most people and he wasn't going to do anything wrong to them.
Mm-hmm.
He just thought that in his Christian, evangelical Christian mind, that homosexuality was sin, but nothing else. He didn't hate them.
Well, he thought that like the Bible says that it's a sin.
Yeah, he just said that, and he said that that doesn't mean that I'm going to hate those people. He said that he still loves everybody.
They also tried to get him to say something that they claimed made him sound racist.
Well,
And
for them, everything is racist.
well, yeah, but it's just like seriously, if you're a person who has these views and you're at a place that you know is probably not gonna be like respectful of you when they're interviewing you, and they're gonna just try to get gotcha quotes from you. You should, when they ask you these questions, you should just say, "Okay, next question. I'm not answering that because I know why you want me to answer it."
I mean,
It's kind of like with the Box Day interview with Backman, where he was like basically trying to get him to say stuff.
yeah, you basically push people towards one side so they say something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Or say something that will sound wrong.
It's just like this new stuff, like White Appreciation Day.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, somebody actually created it. The thing is that the person that created that thing in his restaurant or bar, I don't remember, was a Hispanic dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't trying to make it racist. He just trying to see, oh, there's Black History Appreciation Day, Hispanic Heritage Appreciation Day, and there should be basically a white European Appreciation Day because everybody should be appreciated as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And this Hispanic dude that probably came from another country.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm not going to say that people of other countries tend to be less racist, but I'm going to say that America and Canada, a lot of developed countries have developed that this hate towards white people, that it's not common in other countries. Like in Latin America, if you're white, people are not going to hate you. Why will we hate people in the base of their color?
Yeah, it's dumb. Okay, somebody just linked me on Twitter an article from the New Yorker. It's called "Looking at Female Superheroes with 10-Year-Old Boys." That's what the title was on the actual article. And the link, it says, "Why Marvel's female superheroes look like porn stars."
They're never satisfied.
And they're talking about A-Force, which is a comic that's just all the female characters, and it's being written by the Muslim woman who wrote Miss Marvel and created the young Muslim Miss Marvel, and the characters are supposed to live in a feminist paradise, which means no men, and I don't even want to look at this article right now.
It's just like Revolution 60.
Yeah.
Most feminists out of all feminists like to draw women like
Okay,
so they're making the world basically their idea of what the Amazon island and the DC universe should be.
I guess I linked the article. The art is really good, and the art makes these women look like women. If like looking like a woman means you look like a female porn star, I don't know what you're expecting.
well, I'm sorry, with with anytime I see a female, heroine or hero, whatever the fuck you want to say it, I really just don't have in mind of like Martha Stewart running around in tights.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems very disgusting to me for some reason.
I would love to see a masculine superhero. A really masculine superhero.
Well, nobody
I
wants
would love to see that.
Nobody wants to see like Hoss, the super redneck.
That would be hilarious.
It'd be
In a
fun.
way, Clark Kent is kind of a rednecky type person.
Well, no, he's a country boy. There's a
Well-
difference between a redneck and a country boy.
I know. Oh, I know.
A good boy.
Gambit. Gambit's kind of rednecky.
Gambit is Cajun. That's not redneck.
That's
Oh,
not what I'm
come on.
saying. I'm not just saying.
Trust me, you'll get a lot of rednecks and other people of these cultures yelling at you if someone doesn't correct you.
You're gonna. What I'm talking about is like 400-pound guy wearing a plaid shirt, chewing Copenhagen and like has a
Dude, that's
fishing
creepy.
pole for like a weapon. Okay.
That seems boring.
That'd actually be kind of fun for a parody comic.
It
Oh,
might be
yeah.
fun for
So they
parody.
probably have done something like that before,
The thing
though.
is, if you want to do like equal representation of like people, so you have to have like the 400-pound white guy, black guy, Asian guy, whatever. It just doesn't work. It just makes me want to know what the fuck do they want in a woman that's a superhero. What did they want to depict?
They
Can she
want to
not have
protect
boobs?
someone
Does she
who
have to be like
realistically
a
does not look
carbon
like they
copy
could
of
be
a
a
guy?
superhero.
What?
Sorry, talking over you.
What they don't want is they don't want an art style. They want everything super hyper realistic and boring.
Hyper-realistic
The chick from
hyper-realistic is not really a problem if it's done in a very good way.
Well, no, I'm not saying hyper realistic is a problem. I'm saying it's a problem when everyone does it. It just gets boring and repetitive, you know?
Oh, you're talking about
Hyper-realistic.
if it's too close. Yeah.
It will really
What they do
be
is they want people to pose for goddamn pictures and make comics out of that.
Well, sometimes they do that, like especially Greg Land, who's one of the worst artists in comics, because he just takes porn star pictures, like pictures of porn stars, and traces them for women, and then with men, he like takes pictures of bodybuilders. He doesn't actually take them; he finds them on the internet, and then he like traces them, or he'll trace like celebrities. Like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon one time appeared in a comic that he was supposed to be drawing.
Dear God, this guy actually makes money this way? I am in the wrong fucking
Yeah,
side.
because this stuff sometimes looks kind of good, except all the women have the same face.
That's a very, very easy thing to end up doing if you're still learning how to draw.
Well, he traces everything. He's not drawing. He doesn't draw. He's also traced other people's comic book artwork, which gets even weirder. And he'll trace
So he's an outright plagiarist too.
sort of. That's an issue that's really hard to talk about without getting really in depth. But artists will take other people's art and kind of reuse it or something. Not like outright reuse it, but they'll trace it or use it to help with like something.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
most people consider it very poor taste unless it's a classic cover or something and it's an obvious homage.
Or sometimes it's just a way that makes it easier or faster to get a thing done. Because with superhero comics at Marvel and DC, they have to get them out. They have to get them out.
But the issue mainly comes when they don't ask permission from the original artist.
Well, you don't necessarily have to, and
No, but most artists will make a stink out of it because, hey.
Bees with a question mark wants to tell you guys and the entire world that Cajun is not redneck.
okay.
No, it's French.
I told you, Otter.
But he seems redneck to me.
No, redneck is more from the Appalachians.
I know. I don't.
No, I know a redneck from,
What I mean by him
Appalachia
being
is
redneck-
hillbilly.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What I mean by him
Appalachia's
being
hillbilly.
redneck, though, is that he just seems like if he actually had a home and he just lived at home and didn't do anything, there would be a car out in front in the grass without any wheels and
Trailer park superhero.
stuff. I don't know what I mean.
I want that now.
Redneck is just basically anybody who can put damn near anything together with duct tape or plexiglass.
Yeah.
Or
I
fiberglass.
mean, like,
Redneck
Like,
is also
different-
technically associated with blue collar style positions. And like, I mean, my cousin married a redneck, and he's from, born and raised in North Dakota.
Now become more of an insult, though.
No, it's not so much it's like rednecks themselves don't quite consider it an insult.
no, I think redneck refers to work. Like their necks became red because of working under the
That's
sun.
the origin of
Yeah,
the term.
their necks became red because they worked in the fields. And
Yeah.
sorry, I'm multitasking, playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and this rift is not opening.
Mhm.
Speaking
Where are
of
you?
redneck, what basically this thing with Bill Gates drinking poop water?
Oh, the fracking fluid?
No, not fracking fluid. This is the jacuzzi. Hold on one second.
Oh, the
But there-
filtered Seward stuff.
It is the Janicki Omniprocessor, which is basically just a really fancy name for saying we filter the water out of your poop.
Wait, we're moving on from the original that other topic, right?
Yeah.
Did you make that clear? Because I didn't hear that, but I wasn't exactly paying attention.
Oh.
Dragon Age. What are you playing in Dragon's Age Inquisition?
Oh, I'm just playing in Hush Whispers, and one of the quest rifts isn't opening, so I'm just gonna have to reload.
What are you like? What are you like? What class? What?
I'm a
Wait.
Dalish mage right now.
Okay, let's get back to the topic that Darkstar was talking about. Sorry, Darkstar.
Okay, so basically on I think it was Bill Gates' channel, he actually drinks some of this stuff. My question is for anybody out there: could you, knowing where this stuff came from, drink this stuff? And I know this is going to be a great thing for a lot of places, especially, say, in Africa, where it's very difficult to get a hold of like fresh, clean drinking water. Where you or I can go out to the store and get some bottled water, or even just straight out of the tap. These people can't. But first world problems here. Could you force yourself to drink poop water?
Yeah.
I will probably confirm it, and I'll probably have a water purity tester with me first, ideally.
Yeah.
Bill Gates actually takes a drink of it right there in front of the guy.
If it's pure, then it's drinkable. Doesn't matter where it comes from.
My question is,
It's not that you're going to see the poop next to you.
who's going to fund this thing? Because, I mean, it can also provide excess electricity to surrounding areas.
Yeah.
My question is, where exactly is it going to, who's going to pay for it if they're going to be putting it in Africa or whatever?
I think that's probably...
I think Bill Gates is.
Probably. Like charities.
That wouldn't surprise me, but his money, even his money, only goes so far.
Well, they'd have to be able to make a way for it to somehow make money in order to pay for itself, or something some way to have it make money on its own. And I don't know. What
An
I'm saying.
organization, probably like a charity organization.
Well, you
like
can
a
sell the
ONG,
electricity.
NGO.
Yeah.
Just bill people a bit for the electricity.
Well, they can try that, but the thing is, Africa is really a poor country.
I said a bit.
Also,
Not a whole bunch.
Africa, Africa is a really poor country.
Also, Africa is not a country.
It's a continent. There are countries in Africa it's not necessarily they are poor. It's that they're unstable.
It is a country, but yeah, Africa's a continent. Okay.
Yeah. The thing is that there are countries in Africa that cannot afford this, not necessarily because they're poor, it's because they're unstable. That's one of the problems. I mean, they are very prosperous countries in Africa, but the problem is that they're completely unstable.
And the money ends up in one spot within the country or something.
Yeah.
So that when you're financially trying to help Africa, they're probably not helping them. And also, if you're one of the things is that if you try to help poor people or something, and you're consistently giving them money, then there's no reason for them to try to help themselves because you're helping them already. That's a really hard issue to deal with when you're wanting to help them.
They create their own water. I mean, if they know how to work the systems, they could do it themselves.
The one problem I see with this processor is that it's not really a standalone system. It's dependent on sewage.
Oh.
So when you've got countries that are needing these basic necessities, you don't have a whole lot of sewer systems in the most poor of the countries.
Mhm.
I mean,
Well,
that
yeah, I guess you
recently,
could get them to dump their own poop into it.
yeah.
Like take your poop bucket and dump it into the thing.
I can see that going just amazingly well.
The problem is that I have seen. I know the thing is that the problem that I can see is that there are some countries where the more poor population, like the more poor tribes, actually uses the poop to build stuff. So maybe they'll use too much their own poop, and they won't have any poop to use. They actually build houses with poop in some countries. They make mud.
Anybody else got anything on that?
I don't know. Poopy water is poopy water.
It's a great idea, but how we implement it is going to be very difficult.
I think it's going to be more for countries like develop or in the process of developing countries in case of emergency more than.
I could actually see a first world use for it. And
Yeah, I
that
mean,
would
I
be-
guess emergency water supply.
Well, that would well, not just emergency water supply, but the video actually said that it can generate electricity from it because of the way that it passes through steam and uses generators to do this. I could see it used to lower electricity in like municipal areas where you may have a city sewer.
Well, I
And-
guess it could also be useful for people who live off the grid. It lets them get purified water and generates their electricity.
Well, true. It could also lower your electric bill at the end, in the end of things. I'm just not sure how well a lot of electric companies would deal with that.
Also depends how many groups you need. The problem is that if we think about the poop, it will have to be with high populations because you need to eat to poop. And if you eat, you need actually a lot of food to create a lot of poop. So people who don't eat that much or don't eat right are not going to create probably the necessary capacity for the poop.
So let's just ship American poop over. That's the best.
Let's just go find Cletus. His toilet's always overflowing. He'll work. So speaking of filthy millionaires, Nintendo, we talked about this, is basically back to being profitable again.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time.
I don't know if it spit out another Wii, it might not, but thankfully its mobile market has really saved it.
Honestly, all it needs to do is make another form of the Nintendo DS or its handheld, and it would be profitable again too. It really is cornered that market.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the DS better than other mobile games, like systems?
You mean the PS Vita?
Yeah, like that.
Well,
Well,
it's
for one
better
thing-
because it has better games and more
The
games.
Vita is actually an awesome system. It's just it was not well supported.
It also, again, the more game systems, or the more games your system can support, and the more variety of games your game system can support, the more people you will have using it.
Oh,
Also,
my
the
cousin
PS
had
Vita,
a Nintendo DS, and he used to play a lot of games like Pokemon games.
well, the one thing about the PS Vita is that it was clearly just this is for gamers, and you're going to be able to play games that you can play on your PS3 on the go. And as somebody who likes the PS3, I'm like, I don't want to play that though, because I'd rather just play the games on my PS3.
Yeah, with the DS also, Nintendo makes their mobile game market for children.
Yeah.
With children in mind, kids in mind, it makes their game systems durable, and if it's not durable enough, they make a more durable version. See the 3DS versus the 2DS. It makes more stuff for kids, which parents are going to buy, and it also supports the casual gamer market much more than the PlayStation Vita ever did.
That's the same thing though that makes the its mobile market so big, the kids, is the same logic that goes into making their consoles, which is very adverse to their business decisions or
Yeah.
their bottom line.
But let's be clear, they don't Nintendo doesn't just make things for kids. When you say make things for kids, what they're actually doing is make things that can be
When they
better for
develop
everyone
a game,
technically.
they're usually thinking of kids in mind.
Well, they're thinking of everyone in mind.
Not really. I mean, if they had really thought of everyone in mind, they would actually dedicate to adult markets as
No.
well.
They had
Not
horror
just,
games. Didn't
not
they
just
had
That's
a
not what I
horror?
mean.
Didn't they had Rise of Nightmares? No.
Well,
What?
okay. When I say they make things for everyone, like they'll try to make a game.
Make a game
that
for
everyone can
everyone to enjoy, even if their kids are the intended demographic.
Yeah,
For
it's
example, Pokemon has
Yeah.
gotten more and more catering towards the hardcore competitive online battling community. However,
And-
a kid can still enjoy it without ever taking an online battle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's they have a lot of kid-friendly franchises that are like that, so that kids can play them, but adults can play them. It's basically like it would be like saying Pixar makes movies for kids.
well, that's the whole thing, man. Is that they're not taking a risk in doing like they used to. They're not risking things like they used to in going towards adult markets. Adult
They are,
markets
though.
only.
They're also
Well, I mean,
creating
Bayonetta's
also in-
They
Wii U
tried
exclusive, so.
Bayonetta. But
Devil's Third is a game that's coming out soon as well, and that's clearly not for kids.
okay,
What?
so how many games? So how many games does Nintendo have that are strictly adult oriented?
let me-
Very few. And-
Adult or like PG-13 type rating.
No, we're talking about, if you're talking about the games like on level with like Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, that kind of thing. I know that I believe you can get Call of Duty on Nintendo, but the whole point is that it does not support third-party developers like it should.
Okay.
Well, it does for the DS.
Well, that's the DS. We're talking about the Wii U now.
They have Project Zero.
They have actively been courting developers and desperately trying to make the Wii U easier for developers to work on. And Ninja Gaiden 3 ended up on the Wii U. And the guy who made Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden 2 is making Devil's Third, which is from Valhalla Games. And Nintendo's actually publishing it. So
They have a
you
horror
can't
game.
obviously just make a bunch of like adult content, whatever that means, for the Wii U. They can't just like release tons of it out, but they're working on it. I mean, if Bayonetta gets a third game, it's going to be on the Wii U. And they're actively like I would love to see Hideo Kojima. He likes like, oh, I'm free of Konami. Hey Nintendo, let's be friends. And then he makes like a new franchise that's Wii U exclusive. That'd be awesome. Or he just decides to go work at Nintendo. But yeah, I don't know. But they're actively courting developers to make original games that aren't just.
Yeah, they're trying. The question is whether or not the third-party developers will take the risk.
They don't want to take the risk because
Well, yeah,
Wii U
companies
came in
don't want
with,
to take risks.
basically antiquated hardware. That's the problem when you're coming with third-party devs, is that you want the best hardware that you can get at the time. And that's one thing that sets this generation apart. Now, Code NX, hopefully, it's an actually really good system. I believe that's set out for the next less than 5 years, which means Wii U still has 4 or 5 more years of support left.
Mm-hmm.
I've got high hopes for it, but if they don't learn their lesson, they're going to be like relegated to basically being the kiddie console forever.
How cheap is it in comparison to the other consoles?
The Wii U, I think, is the cheapest.
Yes,
It is the cheapest. It's also the most likely to survive you dropping it down the stairs.
Yeah, Nintendo always makes sure that their consoles are not easily breakable.
Or
Which
yeah,
is
I mean,
which is definitely one of their selling points. I mean, I heard, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, that Nintendo used to test its handhelds by dropping them off of a third floor. And if they couldn't run after that, they went back to the drawing board until it could.
And there's all these stories of like, oh, I found my Game Boy in a pile of oil and its screen was cracked, but I cleaned it off and it still worked. Or oh, I left my something out in the yard and it rained really bad, and then I found it and it still worked, even though like it was broken, but clearly it was still working. It was just you would want a new console because it was broken a little bit. Anyways,
One of them
yeah, they have all these stories about that kind of
a
stuff.
Game Boy Color survived the bombing in the Gulf War. They had to change its screen, admittedly, but it's still in the Nintendo. I think it's in the American Nintendo Museum, still playing Tetris.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the problem is when you view a franchise, like when you view most of Nintendo's franchises as, oh, they're kid friendly, therefore they're for kids.
Oh, well, I mean, let's face it. Most of their kid-friendly ones were originally for kids. Pokemon was originally
it was
made for
people
kids,
buying the
no
console.
doubt.
That was made for kids, but
But it's now oriented as much to the adults, fans who've grown up, as it is the kids.
mhm. And Nintendo is clearly starting to rethink everything that they're doing. The online stuff that was a major thing that they were trying to fix from the Wii with the Wii U. And another thing is they actually are publishing a lot of these more adult friendly video games like Devil's Third and Bayonetta 2. They publish those. And the Ninja Gaiden 3 version that was for the Wii U, they actually published that. That's a little strange. Like, they're actually actively working with these developers to bring the games to the console.
Okay, so long as they keep making Legend of Zelda, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I got a Wii U just because I heard that there was a new Legend of Zelda game coming out.
Well, there was going to be one regardless, so you should have just gotten one anyways.
Well, for one thing, I was waiting for it to get a bit cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to consoles, my choice is Nintendo, mainly because they will have exclusives that you can't get anywhere else guaranteed, and PS4, PlayStation for the same reason, because anything Xbox is going to end up on PC eventually. So.
Not true.
Not
Not
what?
true with that. Gears is not wound up on PC, and there's a lot of other things that have not wound up on PC as well.
Well, anything I'm interested in tends to wind up on PC.
Although they could, if they could end up, yeah, you never know.
They could, but making something exclusive basically is a console seller for a lot of people.
Also, would you consider the Xenoblade Chronicles games for children?
I would have to guess. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess it depends on who your parents are.
Because they're like heavy JPRGs or whatever it is, Japanese RPGs that are clearly more for traditional gamers. So they're actively working on it. They're trying to fix this issue that so many people have. But I don't think a lot of these people who are like, oh, it's the kiddie console, I don't think that their minds will ever be changed until Nintendo releases like decals or whatever that you can put on the Wii that like shows like blood shooting out. I don't know.
That's
Boobs.
not true.
And it prints like pornography.
We should probably point out that a lot of Nintendo's stuff never gets released into America.
Yeah.
Like-
Or a lot of stuff that goes on Nintendo's consoles.
I don't know what that means.
Nintendo's primarily a Japanese company. Many things on its consoles. There are many DS games that, for example, that are Japan exclusive because they never saw the need to export. Same with Wii games, and I'm sure there are some for the Wii U. And
well,
a
you
lot
made
of them
it
are.
sound like there's like tons of these games. There's not as many as how you made it sound, at least to me.
Uh, I guess that really depends. For the DS, there's a lot. I'm not sure about the Wii U, but I mean, there's an entire console that was not released in America by Nintendo.
Which console was that?
I believe it's called the Swan.
Swan? What? Okay, I don't. Media entertainment. I don't. Technology. Nuclear explosion. Swan Electronics. I don't know what you're talking about. You're gonna have to find it.
Hold on.
But yeah, I just
They have House of the Dead, and we.
that was on the Wii, and then that was they ended up putting that on the other
Oh
console.
yeah, and Zombie U. What happened to Zombie U?
I don't know. But like they also ended up having a Deus Ex Human Revolution on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So,
I could have sworn that there was a Nintendo thing that was Japan only. I can't for the life of me remember what it would have been called.
Well, there was like an add-on to the 64 that like went underneath it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about.
So speaking of Nintendo and mobile gaming,
Or was that a Sega?
the one of the things that we don't talk about as gamers a lot is like Android games. They tend to not get a lot of love. They're considered mostly like casual games. And I play my share of them on Android. I usually wind up doing like real-time strategy games. There's a have any of you seen like Clash of Clans?
Yes.
I'd play more of the mobile games if they stopped making me have microtransactions.
A lot of these they don't require it. But
yeah, I don't have the patience to wait, is the issue.
I do.
Well, they
I
also
know, they
offer
do.
like ways to get the points that you need to be able to buy stuff by watching ads.
I actually love. I would.
Downloading another app.
I also just don't play and have the time at work.
Yeah, well, at work you should be working.
Exactly.
I don't work.
But yeah, like, go on, Darkstar. You're kind of interrupted you a little bit.
Just saying, one that I'm actually into right now is a Call of Duty real-time strategy, and basically it's you could either call it, I don't know, Clash of Duty or
Is it made by
Call
EA?
of Clans. I mean, it's basically Call of Clans with a Call of Duty, Clash of Clans with a Call of Duty coat of paint.
Uh-huh.
It is damn near exactly the same thing.
Wait, is it made by EA?
Yes, it is made by EA.
Oh. Gross. But yeah. So, did you have something else to say about that, or?
Yeah, one of the big things I think that Android is when you get a developer that actually has a lot of clout underneath them, like say Rovio and Angry Birds. I downloaded Angry Birds the other day because I love the Star Wars edition of Angry Birds. If you have your Wi-Fi on, this is a terrible game now. I mean, it's unfortunate. It used to be a great game, really fun, but no. Now it's every 3 attempts that you make, meaning you clear a level or you have to do a level 3 times, you're going to get an ad, and it's going to be like a video ad of like 20 seconds. So that is like a lot more advertisement than this game needs. It used to be perfect. You saw the ad, you went back to your game, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of Android games are suffering from this. They become too big, and they feel like they can get a lot more money because so many people are watching.
Well, which is the one where they got like the supermodel to do the ads?
War something, Game of War.
Yeah.
Oh God, that one. Okay. Yeah, Game of War is even something I don't have the patience for. Like waiting 120 damn days to build a turret. It just no.
Yeah, there's a lot of the games I'm interested with Android are the type where you either have to pay to get anything done within the span of a year,
Mhm.
or they just take up too much space on my phone and I prefer my music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
really.
any games. I just
Go
have
ahead.
social media.
Huh?
I just have Twitter and Reddit.
Oh. I really liked Marvel Puzzle Quest because it was a fun little thing where like it was like Bejeweled. It was like Bejeweled, but it was Marvel and whatever. And I would play it when I was in the bathroom, doing things in the bathroom, uh, and then I wouldn't play it any other time. But then I updated my phone to Lollipop for
Oh
Android,
yeah, I saw
and
I saw that.
and it was a 2 gig thing. It was a 2 gig upload, and I deleted in order to make space for it. I deleted Marvel Puzzle Quest, and then I tried to put it back on, and then I found out that since I deleted it from my phone, like my progress in the game was completely removed.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
That's
But I assumed that it wouldn't go away because when I've started other games,
It should be tied to your account.
yeah. So I
Well,
don't understand. The same thing happened with Vigil.
that's assuming you've got like the Google Play account. A
Um,
lot of your progress is uploaded to the server. I wanted to like totally erase my account one time, but I couldn't do it because it had already been all my progress had been saved to Google Play.
yeah.
But yeah, if you don't have all of that and it's saved to your phone, then yeah, you'll lose your stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I think it told me one time, it's like, oh, you should back up, and I didn't because I didn't think I would ever need to. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal, and I'm probably not going to play it anymore because I don't want to start over. But it was kind of fun. It was a fun little game.
I've got backups on my phone on my computer.
And I have this one weird anecdote. I was on the Mary Sue one time, and don't ask why. And it was an article about, I think, like female Thor or whatever. And in the comments, somebody's like, "Oh, I don't read the comics, but I got the card in a Marvel Puzzle Quest, but she was way overpowered." And I was like, "Oh, how ironic." Anyways, I end up trying out a lot of these weird games on my phone because I have this one app called Checkpoints, which you can get points for doing things on it, and you can put it towards an Amazon gift card. And one way to get extra points is to download apps or download games and stuff, and then it like gives you a certain amount of points after you've used it for a brief period. And so I do that, and I try out these games, and a lot of them are exactly the same. They just have a different coat of paint. Or they're made by the same company, and it's the same game, but it's different because of the paint scheme or something. And it's like, what is wrong with people? Although I will admit, there is a very good um, mobile game, and it's that virus one where you play as the virus. What is it called? What is it called?
You got me, man.
Plague Incorporated. They had this a tie-in to Planet of the Apes or Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where you could have the ape virus, and you can play for free, or you can like buy the game, and then it gives you like some extra stuff, like you can fast forward through the virus span of time, and you don't have to wait as long, which is nice. And it's really cheap, and it's like, this is cool. This is a fun little game. I haven't played it a lot recently, but I should start playing it again.
I do know that if you value your phone at all, as in value its safety and cohesiveness as is, do not play Temple Run 2.
Okay.
The first one was kind of fun, but you will find yourself very addicted to this game, but you'll also find that somehow the programming to the digitizer does not work very well. So when you slide up, down, left, or right, it doesn't always listen.
Oh.
And I've gone to points where I have almost thrown my phone because of
Oh,
it.
I thought you were going to indicate that it like filled your phone with viruses.
No, nothing like that. It's just the code that interacts with the digitizer does not work well. It could just be my phone, but I mean, I don't know. It seems like the digitizer on my phone works fairly well everywhere else. So, enough about that. Rockstar has put up that it was an accident that the modding on single-player campaign on GTA 5 was an accident. I guess it didn't know that whenever it did its coding for multiplayer, that it affected single-player as well. And I mean, I got drawn into this a lot too. That people were saying, "Oh God damn, GTA 5 is not allowing mods anymore." And I'm sitting here as a PC gamer, and I'm like, "Oh no," because GTA 5 is really nothing without mods. I mean, it's one of those things you buy the game for the mods, just like Skyrim. The game does not really exist by itself without mods. So I know a lot of people are going to be happy about that, at least PC gamers. Now, the ones that they did ban were like field of view mods. Now, some people don't understand why the field of view mods are not acceptable. The reason is that somebody without a field of view mod, or someone who can't, I guess, use a field of view mod because of single monitor setups, that it's not fair. And I'm not saying you can't use a field of view mod on a single monitor. It's just more useful on multi-monitor setups. But yeah, I mean, that's actually some pretty good news. I mean, what do you guys feel about it?
I don't know. I don't really like I like the idea of Grand Theft Auto, but I don't necessarily want to play it. But yeah, also I don't play on a PC, so I can't really do mod stuff. You can't do that on other consoles.
It is a very good reason to become PC Master Race.
No. If somebody wants to buy me a gaming PC, sure, but no. I just think it's okay. So they had like they screwed up in the thing that would remove you from the online thing by making it also punish you for doing mods in single player.
Yeah, it was an accidental line of code. It was like hook J7 or something like that.
Do you actually think it was an accident?
That's a very good question. I'd like to think the best of Rockstar and know good and damn well that mods is basically what makes their bread and butter. But it wouldn't surprise me, given everything else, that they just saw the extreme backlash and be like, "Oh shit, nope, that was just a mistake. We didn't do that intentionally. Nope, not us." I mean,
well, this is a little off topic, but as a company right now, they're probably all like, "Oh, we must worry about everything," because there's going to be like a BBC TV movie made about them, or maybe it's not going to be a TV movie, but there's going to be like a dramatization of like that the company and the creation of Grand Theft Auto, and I think they're all worried that it's going to make them look bad.
I seriously doubt that, because...
Oh, they are. They actually are worried, though.
They're actually worried. How do you know this?
Well, I think I read that. Here, let me look. Deadline.
I would have been more worried when the federal government tried to sue them, or try to put a... They were sued, and they were going to be banned or some shit like that. Especially when like Bully came out. I don't know if anybody remembers Bully, but it was an awesome game, much like Grand Theft Auto, only set in like a high school.
Yeah.
And the whole point was like, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna have shooting in school and guns and shit." And when it finally came off the shelf, and they realized there was no guns involved, it's like crickets.
And you're actually supposed to be like a good guy.
Yeah, you're actually
No,
you're
you
actually a
can
good
beat
guy.
people up. Depends on the situation. You can beat people up. Usually, you beat the guys. You try to seduce the girls, but there's always a gay guy in the group, so you can make out with him.
That's the most important thing, that you can make out with a gay guy.
Yes,
What?
for me it is.
Well, yeah, of course. But I think I read somewhere that they were kind of worried about how they were going to be portrayed. I think any company that was going to be portrayed in a movie, especially a company that has had many controversies, would be worried about how they're going to be portrayed.
Rockstar's got a classic mentality of basically fuck you. That's a lot of times what you'll see the demeanor come from Rockstar. They have not really. I don't remember any time that they've really caved to pressure to change their games. Except for maybe that Jessica Alba thing, but I think they just said fuck you too.
Jessica Alba.
What?
Yeah, wasn't
Oh,
Jessica
Lindsay
Alba that was trying to sue Rockstar because it was.
Lindsay
That was Lindsay
Lohan.
Lohan.
That was who?
Lindsay
Lindsay
Lohan.
Lohan.
Oh, that's even worse.
No, it's not even worse. Why do you hate her so much? She was actually a pretty good actress back in the day.
Back in when was that? When she was like.
I thought the Canyons was okay.
But yeah, let's talk about Lindsay Lohan. No, let's not.
Yay.
Well, sure, I ain't got nothing else. Go ahead. Talk about Lindsay Lohan.
Do we have other topics? We
I
can
haven't
talk
found
about.
any.
Let me see. What we could talk.
Think about the tentacle.
Did the Tomb Raider girl? She left.
Who?
Yeah, she had to go.
Oh yeah.
Well, we could. Oh, we could. Did we talk about White Appreciation Day?
Yeah, we talked about White Appreciation Day. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, briefly. Oh wait, we didn't talk about deep freeze. I thought we were going to talk about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about deep freeze.
What is the problem with the saltiness? I don't get the saltiness.
Oh, I do, because they're always salty. They're so salty because they drink so many tears of their own. That didn't make any sense. I need to go on the deep freeze. I haven't gone on there. I'm ashamed.
I haven't gone there either. I just know it's supposedly like the whole thing that we have been doing before, like recording, like writing exactly, or like keeping in archives all the all the acts that we can see as problems with ethics. It's like they're keeping it like an archive, an archive.
I think the best thing to start off with is what deep freeze is. Basically, it's a collection of articles dealing with Gamergate, obviously. But I'm looking at it right now, and under the entries tabs, it's got collusion, corruption, cronyism, harassment, dishonesty, censorship, sensationalism, and, well, trivia. So basically, it's I don't know who writes these, but it's a collection of these stories in a more cohesive place, I guess, than maybe Gamergate ME. At least that's what I've seen so far.
Well, it's focused on all the unethical journalists that have been involved with all of this.
Yeah, I see that.
And it makes it really easy to find out what they did, and I think that's at least what it was. At least at the beginning, that's literally what it was supposed to be: a way to make these people's unethical behavior there and easy to find, and not be hidden, or like you have to like look really hard to find the exact information. It's just a simple way to do it so that these people will be known for their shit. And it's been called like a blacklist, and many people have said this before. How is it a blacklist? Because we as Gamergate don't own the games media. So how are we going to be blacklisting these people?
It's it's basically their way of reusing words to their purpose.
Yep.
They're
They don't even know what the word means, though.
yeah, it's one of those, you keep using that word, but I don't think it means what you think it means type situations.
Yep.
I'm looking over here as well, and it's got like all of the journalist sites, and it tells you their status within Gamergate, I guess. Like OneUp.com is now defunct, AV Club is neutral, Ars Technica is boycotted, Associated Press is neutral, Badass Digest boycotted, Boing Boing boycotted, and so it goes on and down the list and tells you the status of all these different media sites, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. Christ-centered games is.
Ooh, Leia Alexander has the most entries. Yay!
Oh, she's
I'll read
weird.
a sampling of her.
That woman actually has a problem, a narcissist disorder.
Here, let me read at least the beginning of an entry. I'll do hers. Leia Alexander, Off-World Editor-in-Chief. Previously, Boing Boing, Edge Writer, Gamasutra Editor-at-Large, Kotaku Vice. Member of Gamer Journal Pros, spearheaded the Gamers Are Dead media blitz with an often quoted inflammatory piece. Wrote about Zoe Quinn without disclosing their friendship. Wrote about Naomi Clark 2 times without disclosing their friendship. Wrote about Christine Love without disclosing their friendship. Wrote about her friend Robin Arnett without disclosing their friendship. It keeps going on about not disclosing friendships. Claimed falsely to not be a member of Gamer Journal Pros. Has publicly encouraged doxing and directly engaged in it. Gloated about Jack Thompson's heart disease, saying he should be sent poison candy. Has publicly threatened to end careers and blacklist aspiring developers. Yeah, it's kind of like the kind of stuff you'll find. I like this site. This is a nice site.
You know, Ben Kuchera, say it's my face, Ben Kuchera. Member of Games Journals Pros, gave positive coverage to Sports Friends without disclosing his financial backing of the project. Gave positive coverage to Zoe Quinn while financially supporting her. Claimed to have been harassed by Gamergate while claiming he wasn't receiving any messages on Game Journals Pro.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot we can say about this besides that
Ben Kuchera seriously looks like the picture they would use for a child molester.
Well, he looks like that everywhere, though. It's sad.
I've really never like just looked at his picture before, and this guy's creeping me out right now.
Well, he should, because he's the double. No, I'm just joking.
No, he's got that weird smile. It's just creepy.
Well, let's not be mean. Let's find something positive about his picture.
I don't care about being mean.
He probably is a misogynist.
When do you want me to care about being mean?
He's probably a misogynist.
He is. I mean, he treats women like he treats the women of non-Georgia like they don't exist.
I know, but that's just like so funny. It's like he's probably a misogynist. Well, the picture it generally looks nice if you cover his mouth. It looks like a nice picture. Yeah.
It looks like this.
I said some. I said something nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He looks like the villain from the Smurfs. What was that guy's name?
Gargamel.
Gargamel. Yes, he reminds me of somebody who could play Gargamel.
Oh. Without makeup.
I mean, just put him in a black robe and take the glasses off.
Yep, that makes sense. I was hearing people be like, Oh yeah, this is kind of unrelated, but Milo Yiannopoulos is like really unethical, and I'm thinking, what? He disclosed his interesting relationship with what's their names? Running with Scissors when they put him in their game. I don't.
He also disclosed that he slept with with a person on the GG in DC.
Yeah, he like disclosed that. He showed pictures of it.
I think people maybe are like confusing ethical with moral.
I don't really know.
I
I'm
mean,
just
he
like
does
why.
have very controversial views that,
I've even heard Gamergate people claim that he's really unethical. But
yeah, I think that it's a lot of people in GG who don't like him. I
eh,
don't really, I don't really like him a lot.
I think he's hilarious.
So,
I think I mean, he's really ignorant sometimes, and he does write articles that are just wrong. But
Eh, I don't
the
know.
the thing is that they're just, I'm really not into him. Like, I really don't care what he does.
You're just not into him, basically.
No,
It's like that phrase, like, well, she's just not that into you.
he sounds a little bit arrogant for me.
Well, yeah, but it's because he's British.
No,
Oh,
I
that's
love
why.
Sargon. Sargon is way much better
Well, that's because Sargon is a sweetie pie.
Sargon's better than who?
than
Milo.
Milo. Sounds
They
like
actually did a
Sargon.
stream together though, and there it was like adorable. I was like, oh,
And anything that he does, actually, anything that he says, he actually backs it up with actual evidence. Milo has written articles that he basically just wrote like things like you were like, that's not true. But
I
we
love,
uh,
better not talk about it.
I love listening to Total Biscuit because he always sounds like he's about to, like, I don't know, lead a bunch of troops on cavalry. Like
I just
everything he
wish
says.
he would have apologized for not making it clear that the Andrew Gleason that he was talking about in that audio clip thing was not me. I heard
Ah,
my fifis.
your other Fifi.
Yes, my other fifis.
I love your other Fifi.
Not to be
Yeah, I
insulting, but
love
I'm
him too.
pretty sure he had no idea who you are, dude.
I know.
Ah, your
But there
favorite.
were multiple people who tweeted him and me as like that. What? How could you? Don't be mad at him. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. You should. I mean, you are other Jesus. You're basically well known
To
around
be fair, that
GG.
guy's on so much cancer medication and probably painkillers, he really doesn't remember his own name.
I know. Like I'm not like being serious really, but like it would have been cool if he's like, "Oh, not that Andrew," because it's just one letter off. And for some reason, the night when that happened, I'm like, I'm going to pretend I'm him, and I changed my name to the G to EE instead of EA, and just like started calling Total Biscuit like Toilet Biscuit and stuff, and I don't know why I did it. Like I had a problem.
Toilet Biscuit, oh
Because
my
you
god.
like to troll.
This guy's the most unimaginative name I had really ever heard of. It's
And I
like
don't.
that's like fourth grade humor right there.
Yeah, and I don't even really listen or watch any of Total Biscuit stuff, so that's why this is so weird. Because like I don't really necessarily like him or dislike him. I just don't know him.
I actually sometimes I love to watch the animated version of their like co-optional podcast.
Mm.
They make animated versions of the podcast, and they're super hilarious. I really like Jesse Cox. I watch his channel too.
Well, I think we should probably wrap up
Yeah, I think
because
that's
the others want to do
I
another
think
stream.
that's it for May 8th, 2015.
You're
Yeah.
going to go to another stream?
There's another stream that's going to be on this channel that
Oh, what is it about?
For that shit.
aren't they going to be? Let's just plug it while we're still on here. I think it's where they play one of those weird relationship games, like anime games,
Yeah.
and they read everything. Like I think Rachel reads the dialogue, and Gottfried's dialogue, I think,
A
and
hateful boyfriend.
I can't remember what it's called.
Those a relationship RPG.
Something like that.
Kajui,
Oh, your channel is the one that actually produces the social justice Wild.
Yeah, that's on Hug Patrol.
I really love the last one when they used a Tumblr. It was about mental illness. I want to say whole fat. Oh, I want to be in the one about fat. Oh no, I think they're psychologists. But the whole fat movement. I am Tumblr, and I'm all like aware of that stuff, and it's really bothering me, especially because I'm what Tumblr people from the fat movement call small fat.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm part of that like category. Basically, they actually are so narcissistic that they discriminate people who are fat but less fat than them, and they call them small fat, and they put them on a privileged place because we are more appreciated supposedly in society because we are not that fat.
Well, maybe you can ask Shield or Crazy Logical if you can be on if they ever cover that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's going to be it for us. We'll check you guys later.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.